Question. What are allowed and what are not allowed for a woman to read on the days when she is menstruating or having postnatal bleeding? More precisely, what are prohibited and what are permitted during these days? Answer. The following are the things that are prohibited for a woman on the days when she is menstruating or having postnatal bleeding. 1. She cannot perform namaz, salat, ritual prayer. It is declared in a hadith-i sharif, a menstruating woman cannot perform namaz. Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud. 2. She cannot fast. It is declared in a hadith-i sharif narrated by our mother Hadrat Aisha that the fasts that are not observed during menstruation must be made up later, while namazes that are not performed during menstruation are forgiven. Bukhari. 3. She cannot read the Qur'an. It is declared in a hadith-i sharif, a menstruating woman and a person who is junub, ritually impure person because of sexual intercourse or semen discharge, cannot read the Qur'an al-karim, Tirmidhi. 4. She cannot touch the mushaf, the copy of the Qur'an al-karim. It is declared in the Qur'an al-karim, no one can touch it except the purified ones, al-Waqiyah 79. It is stated in the hadith-i sharif, only those who are purified from hadas, minor and major ritual impurity, menstruation and postnatal bleeding, can touch the Qur'an. Nasai, Hakim, Bayhaqi, Tabarani, Dara Qutni. 5. She cannot enter a mosque. A hadith-i sharif says, it is not halal, lawful, for a junub person and a menstruating woman to enter a mosque. Ibn Maha. 6. She cannot perform the tawaf, circumambulating the Kaaba, which is one of the rituals of pilgrimage. A hadith-i sharif says, circumambulating the house of Allah is like namaz. That is, it is necessary to be with ablution. Tirmidhi. 7. She is forbidden from sexual intercourse. Al-Baqarah 222. 8. It is haram, prohibited, to have anal intercourse with one's wife both during and after menstruation. Oral sex is not permissible both during and after menstruation, either. 9. A woman must let her husband know when her menstruation begins and ends. It is a grave sin not to say it when her husband asks. It is stated in a hadith-i sharif, a woman who conceals the beginning and the termination of her menstruation from her husband is accursed. Jafara. 10. If a menstruating woman who does not have her husband or a mahram, unmarriageable relative with her sets off a long-distance journey, she is not considered a traveler. If she, after her menstruation is over, travels to a distance of more than 104 kilometers from the place she is staying, only then will she be considered a traveler. The following are permitted for a menstruating woman. She can do everything apart from the prohibited ones. For example, these are permitted. 1. A menstruating woman is permitted to recite the basmala, salawat, kalima-i-tawhid, prayers of repentance, and all other prayers. She can perform tasbih, by saying la ilaha ill-Allah or subhan-Allah, for example, and make remembrance. She can recite from memory the Quranic verses that contain supplications with the intention of making supplication, such as Fatiha Surah, Rabbana Atina, Rabbana Firli, and so on. She can visit graves and recite the Fatiha there with the intention of making supplication. If at each namaz time she performs an ablution, sits, makes remembrance and performs tasbih, by saying la ilaha ill-Allah or subhan-Allah, for example, for as long as it normally takes her to perform namaz, she will be given as many rewards as she would normally receive if she performed namaz in the best manner. 2. It is makruh for a junub person to cut her hair and nails, but it is not makruh for a menstruating woman. Hair can be dyed when one is junub or is menstruating. Eating and drinking are allowed when a woman is in a state of menstruation, but eating and drinking without first washing the mouth is makruh when one is junub and it causes poverty. If the time is not sufficient to make a ghusl, ritual washing. When a junub person gets up for pre-dawn meal, sahur, it is not sinful for him, her to eat and drink after washing the hands and the mouth and then to make a ghusl. Halabi. 3. If a woman begins menstruating when she is junub, it is better for her to take a ghusl for janabat, the state of being junub, or it is also permissible for her to wait until the menstruation is over and then to take one ghusl for both. It is makruh tanzihi for a person who is junub to eat and drink before washing her mouth because the water touching her mouth becomes mustamal. And it is makruh to drink water that is mustamal. The case is not so with a menstruating woman, for she has not been commanded to make a ghusl during her period. A menstruating woman can suckle her baby without washing her breasts. However, it is makruh for a woman who is junub to suckle her baby without washing off her nipples. Hadith-i. 4. A junub person who has heard a Quranic verse that necessitates sajda-i tilawa, recital prostration, has to make sajda-i tilawa after purifying himself or herself. When a woman in her monthly period or postnatal bleeding hears such a Quranic verse, it is not necessary for her to make sajda-i tilawa after purifying herself. 5. A woman undergoing the days of istihada, vaginal bleeding apart from menstrual and postnatal bleeding, is categorized as a person who has an excuse, udr, like someone who is not able to control her bladder, or someone whose nose frequently bleeds, or a woman who has an unceasing discharge from her body. Hence, she has to perform namaz and fast, and sexual intercourse is permissible despite the bleeding. The bleeding of istihada, menorrhagia, is a sign of a disease. If it continues for a long time, the person concerned must see a gynecologist.